Hi everyone, welcome back. Yes, I better call this take two, hadn't I? I attempted the other day to try and include some numbers in one of my videos to do a comparison between Norway and the UK on statistics for EVs, and then try and make a comparison to how many orders we might expect on August the 2nd. Yes, I'm interested from my own personal point of view. Am I going to get a car in an early batch? Am I going to have to wait ages? How many orders are there going to be? But that's only part of the story. What I really want to cover today is the question, is the Kona a game changer? And I think we're going to know that in the UK by how many orders we get. So depending on the volume and the number of orders that come in, we'll know whether we can consider the Kona a game changer. Because technology-wise, those early adopters and those that are enthusiasts about EVs know that the Kona specification and pricing level is a game changer. But whether it sells or not, and whether it changes the market and therefore really is a game changer, is another matter, because we can anticipate that it will take off, and we can anticipate that it should meet the general public's needs for cars, and therefore help migrate people from ICE cars to electric cars. But unless the market actually changes and adapts and moves with the car and accepts the car, then it's not going to be a game changer. So here we go anyway. I'm going to attempt to answer that question, will it be a game changer, based on the volumes. So the data that I found, in UK all electric car registrations, March 2018 there were 2,904 new BEVs registered. March 2017 3,141. June 2018 1,519, and June 2017 1,466. So as you can see there, in those 4 different months over 2 years, there's a range. Some of them are March figures, so you've got March registrations, and some of them are June, so it's a more naturalised month. So we've got an average between 1,500 and 3,000. So over a full year, 2017, we had 13,597 new BEVs, not plug-in hybrids, just full electric cars, registered in the UK. And lastly, Hyundai Ioniq. Now here's an interesting one. I would have never guessed this number. How many Ioniqs were registered in the UK in 2017, the full year? 251. 251. That's 1.85% of the total number for the year. I'm staggered by that, for how good the car is and how much range you get, because it's not 120 miles like the statistics and specifications show. You know, most people are getting 150, 160, even 170 miles of range out of it. It's a brilliant car. It's so comfortable. It's full of tech. It's a really good price. I am gobsmacked at how low those sales numbers are and new registrations are in the UK, and yet that number came from an official source, so that's definitely one I would trust. Nissan Leafs, well, yeah, Nissan Leaf is the biggest EV being sold in the UK, volume-wise, and this will please the people that love Nissan Leaf or have got one. Yeah, so I found a statistic that said by the end of Q2 2018 they had registered 3,511. So 3,511 over 6 months. So that's 500 odd, isn't it? Well, some 580ish or something like that. Every month on average. Well, that's huge, isn't it? That's twice as many per month on average as the whole year for Ioniq. So that shows the difference on popularity. And here's the big question, isn't it? You know, which car is better, Leaf or Ioniq? All the people that have done reviews and the people that own them will say different things because they've got different feelings about them. My gut feeling is they suit different people. So why would the Leaf sell so many more? And the popularity of the Leaf, it's because it's established. It's an established name. Hyundai and the Ioniq isn't so established, especially in the UK. So will the Kona be able to break that mould? That's one of the questions. So Norway, let's get the comparison numbers. Norway, I found for March 2018 they had 5,362 cars registered. 5362, so that's, well, if we said between 1,500 and 3,000 in the UK, take the mid figure, 2.5, we're talking, you know, let's round it, 2 to 1 ratio. The UK is selling half as many full electric cars per month on average than Norway. And what else have we got? So let's talk specifically about Leafs. So I found the Leaf specific number for that month as well. So out of the 5362, there were 2,172 new Leafs registered. Well, that's a significant number as well. That's 4 to 1 almost compared to the UK volumes of Leafs being sold. So we've got 2 to 1 for all of them, 4 to 1 for Leafs. So what about Ioniq? Because I was starting to think that we should do a ratio comparable between Norway and the UK on the Ioniq statistics and then apply that same ratio to the number of orders of the Kona received in Norway, and that might give us the most accurate prediction about how many we're actually going to get, because it's not how good the car is. I truly believe it's more about the established brand name, because regardless of how big and good Hyundais are, if you're not comfortable with Hyundai as a brand, you're probably not going to buy one. It's only the true enthusiasts that are looking to buy a car based on its technical merit and don't care who it's made by. And there are lots of people out there that don't care how big it is, they don't care how much space there is. As long as it's got more range, they'll buy it. And that's for more the enthusiasts, and that's more for the niche market. The masses are the people that are going to buy the car instead of a petrol car or diesel car. And yes, they've got to be comfortable with Hyundai as a brand. So anyway, how many Hyundai Ioniqs were sold in Norway in that same month? 251. So that's the same as the full year sales for 2017 in the UK. So that's a 12 to 1 ratio. So we've got 2 to 1 for all electric cars, we've got 4 to 1 for Nissan Leaf, and 12 to 1 for the Ioniq. Why am I looking at the Leaf comparison? Well, if it's a game changer, if the Kona is a game changer, then it's going to take over the crown of the Leaf as the top selling car in the UK. If it doesn't take over as the top selling car, in my opinion, it's not a game changer, because it's still as it was. The Leaf will continue to sell. It might just be based on who can produce the most as well, because people will buy what's available. So, is it a game changer? We shall see. So on those numbers, let's just try those 3 sets of ratios, shall we? So Norway had orders in the first 2 weeks of the Kona being launched of 6,969. Yes, in the first 2 days, I found a number that there was only 3,200 of those orders were ordered in the first 2 days. But Norway was different to the UK. They didn't have an order system that's as Mannika's ours, first come, first served. They actually had an orderly queue. So all those people that were in the queue knew they were in the queue and knew they had 2 weeks to actually place the official order, and they would still hold their place in the queue. So no one was under pressure to get their order in on day 1, day 2 or the first week. So the 6969, I don't know how valid that number is. Whether we should use 7,000 as a number to start, or whether we should use the number for the first couple of days as 3,000, I'm not sure the starting point. Let's start with the 7,000. Let's start with that as a number, as worst case scenario. And if we apply a 2 to 1 ratio compared to the total number of full electric cars sold between the two countries, then you could argue that 3,500 orders could be expected for the Kona in the initial period in the UK. Well, that's quite a lot, and that's sort of the number that I had going around in my head for a while when I thought there was that much demand in the UK. But when you now look at the Nissan Leaf and you look that it's a 4 to 1 ratio, then if you applied that to those order numbers, thinking, well, the Leaf is the top selling car, so why would we suddenly expect the UK to be ordering multiples more than not just Hyundai's electric cars, but the best selling car in the UK? Is it really going to be that massive a change that everyone in the UK is going to not buy a car and want to buy a Kona? I don't think that's the case. So I think using the Leaf statistics shows us another level of, if it's a game changer and changes the marketplace in the UK, maybe the orders will be at that level of the Leaf. So 4 to 1 ratio, well, take the 4 to 1 ratio of the 7,000 maximum orders, so let's say 1,500 to 1,750 as a number of potential orders of the Kona Electric in the UK. And lastly, what about the Hyundai Ioniq statistics? So the 12 to 1 ratio. So if we take a 12 to 1 ratio against those 7,000 orders, we're talking between 500 and 600 potential orders. So there, I think we've got a really good example of 3 different variations of ratio that we can use comparing Norway to the UK and predict the number of orders that we're going to get for the Kona Electric. Is it going to be the same as the Ioniq, so the same brand penetration basically? So are we going to get 500 to 600 orders? Well, if we got 500 to 600 orders, that would be a game changer, I think, for Hyundai in the UK, because that's twice as many as they sold in 2017 for all our Ioniqs, all electric Ioniqs. So yeah, even that lowest level statistic of 500 to 600 would change the percentage penetration of Hyundai in the UK. So they would probably be very happy with that. But that doesn't really change the marketplace, does it? It doesn't really change the game. So I wouldn't say 500 to 600 orders in the initial period for the Kona Electric would indicate that we've got a real game changer here. 1,500 to 1,750, using those Leaf statistics, would that be a game changer? Do you know, I think it would, because it would be the first indication that we've not only broken the brand limitations with Hyundai in the UK and taken leaps and bounds beyond their sales figures in the past, but it's showing that it's coming up to and going to overtake the Nissan Leaf. So if production could match the demand, would the Kona outsell the Leaf? And if there's an indication of that by seeing 1,500 to 1,750 orders in the initial couple of days or the first week, then yeah, I would think you've got indications that we've got a real game changer on with the Kona Electric. If it's all worst case scenario, and I'll say worst case scenario as in the highest impact, and there are 3,000 orders or more in the initial period for the Kona Electric, is it a game changer? Yeah, in my opinion that's national news for the UK. That not only has Hyundai outsold its last electric car in the UK, the Ioniq, it's then going to be outselling the Nissan Leaf as well, the most popular selling car in the UK. So I think if we're talking 3,000, we're talking massive national news. It's a huge story. It's phenomenal, the rate of sales. And obviously anything beyond is just, I personally think, unthinkable, because Hyundai will take years and years and years to actually catch up with production. I don't see them stopping left-hand drive and starting to produce a huge volume of right-hand drives. So what's reasonable? Well, I actually don't think that those top numbers are reasonable, because the UK isn't as far advanced in its understanding and appreciation and adoption of electric cars as Norway. So if you factor that in as well, the UK is quite slow to adopt electric cars. Those that have broken the mould are the Nissan Leaf and the Teslas perhaps. But as you come further down the number of cars that are being sold in the UK, the Zoes and the BMW i3s and the Golfs and the Ioniqs, the volumes aren't huge. The volumes are quite small. What demand there is, well, we know in the UK there's a huge demand for plug-in hybrids, because those have been selling much, much more. So instead of selling 250 full electric Ioniqs in the UK, several thousand have been sold. So you're talking 10 times more plug-ins are being sold than the full electrics. So I'm not sure the UK is as advanced as Norway, and therefore the demand for wanting a full electric car isn't there yet. As such, the product is going to arrive before the demand. So I'm not expecting 3,000 orders initially. I'm not expecting more than that. I suppose I'm actually hoping that it's only 500 to 600, that it's a good step forward, and therefore it shouldn't be difficult for us to receive a car in the short term. Yeah, I'm biased, I know, I want my Kona, so whatever it takes. But something tells me there's a chance that it could have penetrated the market sufficiently that enough people are going to want to order it. I'm just hoping they're genuine customers. I'm hoping they're not people wanting to buy it and then resell it. I'm hoping they're not just lease companies. So I'm hoping they're genuine customers. And yeah, if Hyundai UK are listening, make sure the cars go to genuine customers. Don't have them sitting on forecourts and on lease sale sites for a stupid price. Give them to customers and then we can review them and advertise them for you. Anyway, there you go. That's enough from me. That's what I wanted to present. I want to present some data to try and gauge if the numbers are at a certain level, is it a game changer? And I think I've now got that. Those three examples, 500, 1500 and 3000, I think those are the levels that we would need to consider how much of a game changer the Kona really is in the UK. Thank you for watching. Thank you for bearing with me with all those statistics. Aren't they boring? Or interesting if you're as geeky and nerdy as me. Really appreciate everyone subscribing. If you haven't already, there should be an icon around here somewhere, so click away, join the journey, and I can't wait to share my Kona Electric with you as soon as it gets here. And when is that? Anytime soon. Yeah, it could be August. Nah, could be September. Possibly, yeah. I think there's a real chance that it could be, but I won't know for another week, maybe two. I'll be chasing as much as I can, calling them every day, as I'm sure the other people ordering will be doing as well. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye.